Hi, this is Maria Martinez, and with me here today is the campaign co-director of the Living Wage Coalition, Carl Kramer. Carl, what is the Living Wage Coalition?
The Living Wage Coalition is an organization of low-wage workers and their allies fighting for economic justice. It was started in 1998 by representatives of different labor unions, religious congregations, and community organizations, and to get a living wage law passed. Since then, it's transformed into a membership organization that continues to struggle to get wages of low-wage workers raised.
Who benefits from the Living Wage Coalition?
The living wage law, that's also called the minimum compensation ordinance, benefited 30,000 workers throughout San Francisco. Workers at the airport, workers at nonprofit agencies, workers at for-profit businesses that had contracts with the city, and home care workers. And currently we're campaigning for amendments to the living wage law, which would benefit 15,000 workers, nonprofit workers, home care workers, and CalWorks parents who are in the welfare to work transition.
Carl, what is a minimum wage, and what is this amendment striving to improve? How much are you guys striving to improve the minimum wage?
Good question. The Living Wage Coalition joined with 9 other organizations in San Francisco to campaign to get an initiative passed at the ballot that established a citywide minimum wage, and that had cost of living increases in that law. So since the minimum wage was passed at $8.50 an hour, that's increased with the rate of inflation now to $9.14 an hour. That applies to everyone who works in San Francisco. The living wage law, also known as the minimum compensation ordinance, covers businesses that do business with the city. That is, they're getting our tax dollars, and we have a right to require that those businesses aren't paying poverty wages. And currently for workers at for-profit businesses with city service contracts, it's $10.77 per hour. For workers at nonprofit organizations, under the minimum compensation ordinance, the rate has fallen to even below the citywide minimum wage. And so that's what we're fighting to change, is that nonprofit workers should be getting the same wage as workers at for-profit businesses and should be treated like second-class citizens. The other is that CalWorks parents who are in the welfare to work transition, who are struggling to transition off of welfare and to support their children, their CalWorks grant is diverted to an employer who pays it out as wages. That's at the city minimum wage of $9.14 an hour. We're saying that the city should put in additional money, the employer should put in additional money to bring the wage up to the same rate as under the living wage ordinance. And also that a annual cost of living increases should be applied to that minimum rate. So if the last year's rate of inflation was applied to that wage, it would bring it up to $11.16 per hour. And for the next year, with this year's rate of inflation, we estimate it will be around $11.50 per hour.
Robert Bustamante, campaign co-director for the San Francisco Living Wage Coalition. I got involved with the coalition while I was working at one of the shelters here in San Francisco, one of the nonprofit shelters that contracts out with the city. In fact, I've worked at numerous community organizations here in San Francisco, basically all my work life. And I've worked for the city, I've worked for the state government, and it's always been basically doing the same work, providing services to the community. But in these various jobs, I always noticed that the nonprofits, the pay scale is just different between all of these different organizations, and all of us doing the same work. And that's why I got involved. I think that the people that work for nonprofits should get a living wage. You know, a lot of the people, co-workers that I've had, qualify for food stamps. You know, they can collect all sorts of subsidies. In fact, I've been able to do that myself because the wages are so low. You know, I think when someone goes out and works 8 hours at a job, you know, doing the city's work, that these people should be getting paid enough money to be able to support themselves, you know, without having to have a second job, a part-time job, without having to move out of the city. And in fact, that's what these low wages are doing in many cases. They're just running San Franciscans out of San Francisco. And people that are running out of here are people that want to work in the community, people that have studied and worked towards doing this type of work, and yet then they see that there's more to it. I mean, they have to pay rent. You know, they have a young child now. They got married, or they have to pay alimony, whatever. You know, people need money, and they need to get paid a living wage. And that's why I'm involved. You know, I think people are not getting, these workers certainly are not getting treated fairly by the city and county of San Francisco.
And I'm a firm supporter of the Living Wage Coalition. This organization means a great deal to me because there's a lot of people involved in this organization, but not that many people speak up as clients or people that receive the services. And I want to talk to you about that right now because I think this is very important, and I think my message is very important because it's very personal. My parents are very ill right now. My dad's almost 95 years old, and he suffers from Lou Gehrig's disease. And he's in a wheelchair all day. He can't do anything by himself anymore. He can't eat by himself. He can't read the newspaper. He can't do any of the things he used to do. He was really, really independent and has always been well-read and interested in current events and very active for the first 91 years. My mom was really active in the community as an educator. In fact, we still run into people that know my mom. And she was an administrator in the San Francisco Unified School District for many years and helped many, many families. Now my mom is sick with Alzheimer's, and she's at the most serious stage of Alzheimer's right now. And she has a really hard time every day, just getting through every day. So both my parents' doctors have told the family that they're amazed that my parents are doing so well. And the reason they're doing so well is because they have such great care. They have extremely dedicated and loyal home health care workers that make sure that they can get through every day. And they make sure that they're clean, that they're healthy in their own way, that they take the right food and right medicine, and they're with my parents 24 hours a day. These are the people that are letting my parents continue to live. They're generous of spirit, they're kind, they're understanding, they're patient, and I appreciate them so much. We're lucky that we're able to have home health care workers at home and let my parents stay at home. And we feel that we have to be generous to our workers and help them so that they can have a decent standard of living. And the reason I'm telling you this is because there's a lot of low-wage workers that are doing really valuable, important work like these workers that aren't able to survive, that have to do more than one job a day, that are working many hours and trying to take care of their families as well. So I'm asking people, I'm urging people, and urging the Board of Supervisors to support these living wage amendments so that all workers all workers, especially the ones that do this valuable work for our families, can have a living wage, have a decent wage, and be able to enjoy life, just like the rest of us. So thank you for listening to my story.
I'm here actually to talk about the San Francisco living wage. I'm here representing the Living Wage Coalition, and to talk a little bit about the low-wage workers and how they should receive an increase in wages. My first thought in receiving a flyer was living wages. What does that mean to me? The ability to sustain a lifestyle that should be decent. It should be consistent with maybe your neighbor, your friends. There shouldn't be a shortage of food in your refrigerator because you can't go to the local supermarket and buy maybe some essentials. You shouldn't rely on state. You shouldn't rely on government. You should earn as much, if not more, than somebody in the field that you're working in. So when I received the flyer, like I said, I kind of took it personal. Like I said, I work in a bank, and we don't make as much as other banks do, as other bank employees. And to hear that a CalWorks mother, a home care worker, a nonprofit worker, doesn't make as much compared to another individual in the same field, it kind of bothered me a lot, actually. I believe for one person, for every one person who disagrees with something, there's about 10 other people who feel the same way. They just don't speak up about it. I'm one of those people. I'm a student. Pretty sure there's hundreds of other students who feel the same way. Hundreds of other people who feel the same way. And in my major, I chose that criminal justice because it's a passion for me, passion of injustice, and I feel like that's an injustice if you can't live a certain lifestyle, then I mean you're basically taking advantage of modern day slave labor. That's what I was call it. So that's about it. And, yeah, my mom, she's a home care worker, works with a lot of elderly people, and she doesn't get paid much at all. She comes home with checks comparable to a 15-year-old working at McDonald's, basically. And frankly, that kind of, for me, that probably what triggered my my interest in this, the rally, the coalition, the increase in wages, is because my mom doesn't make that much money. Just more accurately, like that in turn makes it more personal, because I see, well, if I'm living through it, obviously other people are living through very hard lifestyle. It's just harder seeing your mom going out and working these odd hours and not making much money, and then coming home exhausted. And she actually was about to work another job, but because I have a younger brother, she can't do that. So,
my name is Roland Washington. I'm a healthcare worker, healthcare professional, whatever you want to say, and a city employee. And I am an advocate and ally of the living wage. And it's interesting to understand that this has been going on since 1998. So as far as I'm concerned, that's too long. That's too long to fight for a living wage. So it's very important that this ordinance gets passed. Have dealt with Ammiano, have dealt with the union. I'm also a union member, and we're all trying to get this passed. As was stated earlier, there are people who are trying to live off the salaries that they're being paid right at the moment. People work in shelters, home care folks, et cetera, et cetera. And for the work that we do and the work that we provide and the caring, you would like to see that on your paycheck. You'd like to be able to take care of your family with the amount of money that you make and not necessarily work 2, 3, or 4 jobs. When somebody is trying to be independent that has a disability, and a low-wage worker is a person that makes them independent, then I think that's the type of work that you can't put a price on that. So one's independence is just incredible. So as a city employee, as a union member, as a community activist, I wholeheartedly endorse and support the living wage. And 10 years is just too long.
I'm looking forward to working together with the community and Mayor's Office and the board to make this really happen. We kind of got screwed last year, I think. And so this particular meeting, we're going to be introducing a number of amendments that I think will be very beneficial to us. Then it will be continued for 1 week. And we want to continue to meet with the Mayor's Office, Labor Council, activists, etc., so that particularly for 0708, we get this thing moving. I can say this, it is moving, and we are going to have some action, particularly around the 1077. There's a bit of a squabble about CPI and what was left out, and some of the good faith that we established being diminished. So we're going to continue to negotiate that for everyone. And I would continue, if I were you, to speak to the other supervisors to make sure that they're on the same page as we are. Of course, my office will also be talking to the different supervisors' office as well. So thank you so much. This is such an important issue. It sometimes gets put on the back burner because we're so crisis-oriented around other quality of life issues, particularly around tenants issues and workers' rights. But this, to me, is something that is the core of what we talk about when we talk about equality and dignity and wages. And I really do want to thank Tim Paulson and the Labor Council. And as you know, Pilar Schiavo now works in my office and taking Angela's place, and she'll be the point person on this extremely important issue. But thank you for putting a very human face on something that I think sometimes people don't understand the importance of. You've really helped make this a significant issue, and for that I applaud you. So thanks so much.
Truly an honor to stand before so many people to voice my opinion on the Living Wage Coalition. For a living wage in San Francisco, if we are a city of the people and designed for the people, it's time to give our low-wage workers a deserved living wage. I'm not talking about chump change that's going to go in their pockets and be out on paying bills. I'm talking about a true deserved living wage. This is why I stand in support and in solidarity with all of my neighbors throughout the city and county of San Francisco. It's time for low-income people to get what they deserve. They work for it. A honest day's work deserves a honest day's pay. And they don't need crumbs that's coming from some person's table. They need a true living wage. Transgender community is into low-in-line income jobs. They're working in stores. They're working in the hotel restaurant industry, and they definitely deserve a living wage. Many of them are barely making it to survive in life. They're sitting in SRO hotels that are roach and rat infested and cannot make it into a nice, decent, quiet apartment. So if we're going to be a progressive city, let's take a stand. Let's join our neighbor cities like Chicago. Let's join Milwaukee. Let's join Los Angeles, Oakland, San Jose. Let's be the city that lead by example. Thank you.
Thank you for having invited me and Churchwomen United here today to speak in behalf of the caregivers. Perhaps you've noticed the familiar faces of San Francisco Churchwomen United in your midst many times. Today we're represented by myself, Wilmer, and Ann, who are regular members of this group. And sometimes you might wonder why we are here. It's because one of our goals and objectives is to work to enhance the social and economic power of women and children. We want you to know, we want them to know that the community is grateful to them for the service they give, and that they are a vital and effective part of the workforce of the city and county of San Francisco. And they deserve to be recognized as such. In March of this year, we attended the California Council of Churches legislative briefing and visit in Sacramento on issues of health care, our failed prison system, caring for the environment, immigration, minimum wage, impact on working families' lives, to name just a few. Today we are here in support of the amendment to the living wage law in behalf of the care workers. And we appreciate having this moment to speak our piece, to say where we stand, and we are totally behind what we speak for. Thank you.
Thank you, Coalition. As you know, the San Francisco Labor Council has 150 different unions where people do work under a collective bargaining agreement and have a living wage. And we've been an integral part of, for years now, the Living Wage Coalition. And I just want to be on record, to be short and sweet, that saying it was an absolute crime that this was not upped last year, that the wages were not increased to keep up with inflation, to keep up with the true cost of living here in San Francisco. And we are going to fully support, both in 07, 08, 09, and into the future, to make sure that our lowest paid workers are going to get the fair wages that they are so deserving of. So we are going to be there as a Labor Council. We'll be at the testimony today, and we're going to continue to work to make sure that justice is done to all workers in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Particularly as Supervisor Tom Ammiano has said, that's always been the main issues for we're working for years. And those who has been active for we know that there's since like 1998, at the end of 1998, we begin to talk about the living wage ordinance, and it's Supervisor Ammiano and actually the rest of the 2000 Board of Supervisor has been majority supporter of of implementing and establishing the living wage coalitions in San Francisco, which is called the minimum compensation ordinance. But through the years, it's very important, just like Tim Paulson said, that the two tiers, the for-profit and non-profit, have been widened because of the indexing, the CPI indexing. So it's really important, and I'm really glad that we put an effort together with the support, with the help of the Supervisor Ammiano, to really fix that two tiers, unequal differences in between the minimum compensation ordinance. So we were always in fully support, and we would do our members, so representing thousands of home care workers in San Francisco, is always in support and working together with coalitions, and we're looking forward to have it done soon this year in the budgets, and we will continue to benefit from that and eliminate the two tiers differences. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robert Casares, and I'm hoping to get another yawn out of Board Supervisor Maxwell. No, just kidding. Sorry, that was a lame joke. But I'm really here representing San Francisco State. My major is criminal justice, and I'm all for the wage increase. For the living wage, I received a flyer in the mail. I didn't know too much about the coalition and everything it was about, but it was personal, and I'm sure it is for the 15,000 plus that are fighting for this wage increase. And my mom is actually a healthcare worker, and it's pretty sad when she comes home with paychecks comparable to that of a teenager working at McDonald's, growing up in a poor community. So that's why it's important to me, and I'm sure it's important to a lot of other citizens in this city. Please take this in consideration. Thank you for your time, and I'm totally in favor of the increase, like I said. Thank you.